Do you feel too overwhelmed to start planning for the new year in December so you can hit the ground running in January? Yeah, me too. Here's what I started doing, and it's been the best decision I ever made. I'm Stephanie Hicks, your spiritual care coach. I specialize in helping women of faith align their spiritual journeys with their authentic selves. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe for more transformative discussions about faith and growth. So as I was saying, I approach New Year planning a little different. I don't rush into it in December to start fresh in January. Instead, I use January as a planning period, a time to rest, reflect, and let God speak into my life for the year ahead. The new year for me really starts in February. That's when I launch my plans and goals after I've had a month to dream, pray, and find clarity. Just to catch you up, every year I choose, or God chooses for me, a word of the year. This year, that word is clarity. And let me tell you, I need it more than ever in this season of my life. I have buckets, the main areas of my life. And those buckets are marriage and family, spiritual growth, friendships and community, health and wellness, finances, and work. When I'm planning for the year, I consider how each of these buckets will get filled. If I'm pouring into one too heavily, another might be running on empty. The clarity is about figuring out how to keep them balanced. Once I've identified the buckets, I write down a vision of what I want each area to look like by the end of the year. I imagine myself already there, feeling healthy, engaged in my marriage, rocking my finances, deepening my friendships, or whatever it might be. I use ChatGPT as my personal assistant to help me brainstorm some practical ideas or resources. I create my whole vision in a Google Doc, and then I keep track of everything in my Notion dashboard. With so many things on my plate, marriage, motherhood, work, my master's program, plus chores like tending a garden and caring for animals, it's easy to feel scattered. I remind myself that clarity will be my guide for this year. If something doesn't align with my goals, I might need to say no. As a self-diagnosed ADHD person, and also realizing that I have no concept of time, this helps me stay on top of all of the areas in my life. To me, January is still part of winter, which is naturally a resting season. The world slows down, plants aren't in full bloom, everything is recharging. So why not follow that natural rhythm for my own life? January is for dreaming, praying, listening, and not pressuring myself to start fresh when I'm still hibernating inside. I take about a week, but not all day, every day, maybe 1 to 2 hours each day, where I jot down ideas in my Notion board. I don't try to do it all at once. I like to let ideas marinate. If something feels off, the next day I tweak it. It's a super flexible approach, but still gives me the structure that I need. Throughout this planning process, I pray or meditate on each decision, Whether it's about finances or fitness routine or how often to connect with friends, I ask God for clarity. This helps me avoid impulsive decisions and ensures that I'm aligning my goals with His plan for me. So tell me in the comments, when do you start planning your new year? Are you a January 1st starter, or do you wait like me until the rest season is over? I love to hear about your process and any word of the year that you might have. When I have a clear vision of what December of the new year looks like, I reverse engineer steps. For instance, if my vision is to have a thriving garden by August, I figure out when seeds need to be planted, how often I need to water and fertilize, and so forth. The same goes for spiritual growth. If I want a deeper prayer life by year's end, I plan monthly or weekly rhythms to cultivate that. Right now, I'm working on the spiritual practice of fasting. So I have to decide how long I'm going to fast and what am I fasting for. I think that I will choose something for the quarter, reevaluate it in the second quarter, and so forth. Not everything has to happen in February. Maybe March is when I focus on building a new friendship routine or reorganizing finances. By spreading goals throughout the year, I don't burn out. I can be deliberate and consistent and use my calendar to create reminders for upcoming tasks. Life happens. Kids get sick, gardens get pests, finances shift. This is why clarity is key. If you're clear on the ultimate vision, you can adapt your steps when circumstances change. I like to revisit my plan monthly just to see what needs adjusting, what I've achieved, and what's waiting in the wings. Taking small steps helps me avoid overwhelm. For example, if I want to save a certain amount of money by the end of the year, I break that into monthly or weekly saving goals. If I want a stronger marriage, I plan a date night or a getaway for a few days. These micro goals keep the big picture achievable. I share my goals with my spouse and sometimes with my friends, or I let my community know what I'm aiming for. Being open about it can offer support and gentle reminders. I track my progress in Notion, which helps me to see my wins, however small. Don't forget to celebrate milestones along the way. If you've stuck to a health habit for 3 weeks, treat yourself. Maybe not to a whole chocolate cake, but with something that brings joy and keeps the momentum going. Rest is also important. Make sure you're not running on fumes by mid-year. Remember, there's no one-size-fits-all approach to planning. If you want to launch your goals in January, great. If you want to wait until February, that's fine too. Let the natural rhythms, both spiritual and seasonal, guide you in whatever feels right. For me, prayer and my word of the year, clarity, keeps me focused. It's not about perfection, it's about being intentionally guided by God's wisdom. Each plan I make, I try to hold it loosely enough so that I'm open to His lead. I love hearing about how others approach New Year planning, especially if you've got a word of the year. Leave that in the comments below. We can all learn from one another. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. I'm planning more content on faith, healing, and everyday life. Also, check out the description box for a free guide called Finding Peace After Church Hurt. It's a gentle guide to reconnecting with your faith and your true self. And before you head out, don't forget to answer the question, when do you start planning for your new year? And what's your word of the year? I'm so curious to see what you came up with. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Remember, rest first, then launch.